Howdy guys! It's time for another 00CTOBER Tieren review! And I still feel like I'm putting too many R's in the title. I bet I did it even though I'm saying it here in the video to not do it. I bet I do it. And this time is a very special kind of Tieren, and it is the MSJ-06II SP Tieren Taozi. Now, I have been mispronouncing this forever. I've been calling it the Taozoi, like thinking it had an O in the end of it there. I legit didn't know that this was Taozoi until I typed it in to my schedule for this month. Yeah, I feel like a dummy. All these years I've been calling it the wrong thing. I don't know why. But it is the pink one! And I believe this was Luisa Halavi's. Not Luisa Halavi's, she's Soma Pieres. I think it was her suit, if I remember correctly. And I believe if I look over to the last side of this box, I bet I'll see that. Now, the reason I said the wrong name first is because I'm thinking ahead to another review. My brain is tired. I've done a lot of reviews today. So, of course, you got some great artwork here. Totally shooting its machine gun there. It looks just like the space type. And it is a modified space type for the most part, with a whole bunch of different equipment. And you've got double logo there, all the things down there. Particle effects down here in the corner. So I'm guessing there's a Gundam over here that's fighting. And then you've got Bandai 2008 there. You've got illustrated by Naochika Morishita down there. And if we come to this side, we see action. It's just flying around doing stuff. Seriously, they're putting particles all over. Kind of makes it hard to see things. You've got, hey, that can extend. And then you've got, hey, it's got googly eyes. And then, hey, look, the gun can go on either side. Wow. You got hand, and you've got gun. That's not a gun, it's a thing on the back. And then you've got, there's some stuff here, and then there's that there, and then there's, hey, moving parts. And then, oh, look, the hips and the arms can move, and then whatever the heck it's pointing out about the weird head. And then it's got all of this going on back here, because it can be on a stand. And you got number 8 in the line. Wait a minute, that means that the space type comes after it. Interesting. And you got Tieren Taozi. I don't know how to actually say it. I don't care. I'm going to say it the way it's spelled. And Bandai logo there. And you got obligatory front shot, because once again, they don't believe in showing the backside of the Tierens. Because once you see the backside, I'm dead. And then you've got, hold on, I'm trying to read. 18.7 meters tall, 112 tons, way lighter than the space type, like by a lot. And 200 millimeter time by 25 rifle, 30 millimeter other thing. And then you got the read up there, and like I said, Soma Pieres. Look, it's spelled in English there. She's cool. I like her because she's a super soldier. And I have a feeling that weird dome thingy on the head is entirely made for somebody with quantum brainwaves, if I had to guess. Look, they changed it again. It's even different from the last box. And then you've got 3-year-olds, super soldiers, all the things. 1,500 yen, nice and affordable, hefty kit. Pink Tieren, still upside down. You like Tierens, don't you? I bet you do. You're one of those people who couldn't wait for this review, right? Right. I knew it. I knew it. Can't even lie about it. So, moving on. Let's get her out here and see how pink and cool her super soldier powers are. You know, guys, if there's one thing I know about Tierens, they're already a really wide kit. This one said, hey, I can go even beyond that. Turntable time. So, this one, obviously I built at the same time I built the other Tieren. So the space type I built first, and then I built this one. Now, I didn't realize it came in that order, but I guess it doesn't matter. They were sort of in service together at the same time. So I made assumptions based off the space type on how this one was going to go together. I was slightly wrong. Because it doesn't share a whole lot of parts. Now, mainly the chest and stuff like that is the same. We're going to look at the comparison. Don't worry about that. I said don't worry about it. And then the legs and stuff really change stuff up. So, I mean, it's a whole new kit for the most part. I mean, you can see he's very well equipped on the backside here. Right? I can't help it, guys. It just is the thing that it is. Oh, God. I'm just gonna go. All right, so taking a closer look, you can see that it has a very different head. Like, it has all of this stuff going on here, not to mention the big purple thing right in the middle of the chest. So in reality, I believe the cockpits are actually right here. It's set up like a tank. It's got like the 3 windows and stuff like that, and then the eye is just a sensor and stuff like that. It has this big old weird looking dome radar type head. I believe that's probably something to do with the fact she's a super soldier and has quantum brainwaves and this, that, and the other. And of course, she would always interfere with Alleluia whenever she was nearby. Now, it does have a chest that is incredibly similar to the regular ground type, but only a few, differences. The only thing that's majorly different, or the changes I should say, is these parts here where the top lights are. Those are actually modular, which is cool, so you can swap those out. Then, of course, you do have this whole new front section here that's more or less based off of, or built off of, the standard one. You do get the stickers here and here, like they all have had so far. No dangly bits like the space type had. The head doesn't move, but you can move the eyeball. You do get the butterfly joint. And then, once again, the shoulders. And as I mentioned before, I completely forgot to put these sleeves on. So like these gray bits right here, that's a whole sleeve that goes over it. And I just keep forgetting to put that on. Now the shoulders are a bit different because there's no big like clampy bits like the space type or the round parts for the ground type. Very different shoulders. Now the arms from here down are identical, I think, on every single one. So that's not any different. So spins all the way around, can flex around very nicely. Bicep does rotate, your elbow does do the thing, and she can say, hi there, hallelujah. And I've just left it on there. Gun is exactly the same as the space type, and of course you remove the sword blades, and it just becomes exactly like the ground type. Now we'll talk about these shoulder parts here, because these are new, and we're here. And you do have this weird accordion out thruster. I don't know why. And then you've got this part here that flips around. It looks like it turns, like with the way that is there, it doesn't spin, but it does flip out. And you got some thruster vents right through there. You got all these parts that are all painted with some light gray Gundam marker. I believe it's actually the same gray that I used on virtually everything this year that I've had to paint. It just looks different because it's on top of pink. You do get body rotation, but you got to move the butt part out of the way. You do get the ab roller. The crotch part here is the same, except when you come to the back, all of that add-on part is there. Speaking of which, this does go up and down, as we just saw, does not turn. Legs articulate basically in the same manner, but you can drop them down ever so slightly, so you can get a much better Jean-Claude. They can all do that. I just now occurred to me that it could drop down ever so slightly. So you've got a hinge here, and then you've got the pivot point there. Something I accidentally forgot about. I apologize. Now, something that is different here, you do actually get these standard outer thigh parts. You just don't use them because you use these new parts with these yellow thingies, which are actually molded plastic. I love that, so there's no painting there. Same thing here on the knees. And you do get some very nice knee bend. Very nice. Oh, by the way, the rotation there off the hips. It's a thing. Just deal with it, okay? Just deal with it. And then you come back to the back of these, you got this thing here. They're not thrusters, really. I'm not entirely certain what they're supposed to be. And then you have more color separation by this whole purple piece up here. That is a separate piece. They could have easily made that a big little sticker. And the ankles are about as good as ever, but the feet are ridiculous. What's mostly ridiculous is that toe looks like it can move, and it doesn't. You can see here, it looks like it should move, and it doesn't. Neither does this heel spur. So it's got big old clown feet to help balance out its giant 80s shoulder pads. Said no one ever. That's not a thing. Oh, I forgot these pivot too. So, I mean, she's made to move around in space for sure, but I think, there's some groundness to it. But being that she's a super soldier, she can do some damage. And real quick, we'll look at the extra accessories. Once again, you get Batleth, no one cares. And you get a right expressive hand. Now, maybe I'm missing it, but I'm pretty sure that the space type doesn't have one, even though the ground type does. So it's possible the space type has one laying around somewhere and I'm missing it, honestly. But I'm probably going to leave that on there. I like the expressive hand. Get rid of the regular fist. Now, speaking of the space type, scooch her over. Probably gonna need some more room here. And we'll bring out Spacey Boy from last time, so you can see the differences and or similarities. Bring it up sort of into focus. And then bring out Green Boy from last year. So there's my Tieren collection. Now, like I said, I think there is a Space Commander type. I could be wrong, but I think that there is. I'm not sure. I don't know why this is focused and that's not. It makes no sense. Move it up. I don't get it. Ah! So, move this back here. Move this over here. And we'll bring out Exia from the beginning of the week. So this is the only Gundam that's here. And, you know, these guys aren't GN drive powered. They're powered by other stuff. So they hadn't reached that technology level yet. So there's that. But you can see it's pretty big. It's much taller than the Exia. Oh, let's do that height comparison like we did with the space type. Hold on. So ground typey is almost the same height. Like, they're close. They're very, very close. So space type is still the biggest one. So take a small break. Come back for final thoughts. So if you're trying to get it into an interesting pose for a picture, you can totally use the tank as a tripod leg if you're so inclined. That's quite funny. It was an unintentional thing I just kind of did as I was posing for this. But as it goes, final thoughts. I like this kit. It's not as fun. It wasn't as fun as a space type. In some ways, it took a little bit longer because I did have to paint all of these little bits here. Mind you, that's all on me. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. Stickers are at roughly the same amount. So you get the eyes, you get the parts here on these panels, and you get the camera stickers there, and then a wraparound sticker on the gun, but then it's pretty limited after that. Not a lot of paint work if you're not really keen on doing the gray parts. It's essentially good in the thing. Now, once again, we come back to the same point that I made with the space type. I want foot articulation. Those toes, those are made to look like they can bend right there, but you can see there's a hard seam line all the way down the foot. So it's almost like they could have done it and they just chose not to. Now, there's very few recycled parts in comparison to the other kits. Like the main torso, stuff like that is almost always the same, just with differences in like the head and whatnot like that. And these top lights are different on most of them. The shoulders, I don't dig the expanding part. I get that's part of the gimmick. Like, it's supposed to have that for reasons. I don't get that part. I don't really dig it. I don't think it's necessary. But the color separation with the yellow parts and things like that, and even the purple, that doesn't have to be. Like, they could have molded all this together and then quickly just thrown a big ugly sticker over it, which I fully expected them to do. And then when I opened it, I actually saw, no, these are real actual color separated pieces. And I really did appreciate that. So that's one of the biggest positives. Like, as it goes, I mean, even compared to its brethren, you know, of the same country, so to speak, I dig it. Oh, speaking of which, one thing I never did, I did not compare it to a flag. But I've already put them away. Maybe I'll do a picture later on. So you can see the difference between the countries, you know, from the Federation, or the Union, I should say, to the Human Reform League. Alright guys, so we got one more review in this week, which is in some ways similar to this, and we'll check that out next time. But of course, if you like this one, go ahead and give me a big old thumbs up. Let me know what you think about the different Tieren designs down below in the comments. And if you want to help support the channel, as always, go check out the Patreon, because that really does help. And if you want to help support 00CTOBER in and of itself, by all means, check out the merch store. All these things are in the descriptions down below, so you can get all the 00CTOBER gear. And there will be some limited gear later in the month, so maybe next week. Maybe there'll be an announcement this weekend. Maybe. But anyway, so come back tomorrow for the next review. And remember, as always, to keep on building.